What's up, Dave?
Yo, Andy, how you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So, we're finally getting you down to Cortez. We've been talking about this for years, literally years.
Yes,
This has been kind of in the making. So we're finally having that happen this weekend, and so excited to have you and Tara down there for the conference and then the concert and everything like that. So I was just thinking, like, if people in Cortez don't know you like I know you, they might be like, who is this guy and what's this all about? So I wanted to just get just a little bit of a background on kind of you and Tara and kind of your ministry. Just ask some questions about the conference, and then that way, if anybody had questions, they'll get those answered, and hopefully that'll get some more folks to kind of join us. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Tara's ministry.
that's great. Well, Tara and I have been married for coming up on 21 years this year. We've got two sons, a 19-year-old and an 11-year-old who just graduated, yeah, fifth grade. So he's out of elementary and stepping into middle school, which makes me want to freak out a little bit.
Right.
My 19-year-old's looking at going to looking at some colleges. And so that's also a fascinating thing.
Right.
But Tara and I, let's see, I've been ordained for coming up on 20 years. We've been missionaries for about the last 17 years,
Mhm.
been all over the world, speaking and leading worship all over the place in about 25 different countries, which has been amazing,
That's so cool.
very fun. Um, and I think that's actually, I think I was on the way to do some ministry stuff when I met you, Andy, when we were
Yeah,
flying.
yeah, it really
Yeah,
was. It was kind of
I think
crazy,
we're
right?
flying down to like Phoenix or something,
It probably
actually.
was, yeah. It's too
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, if you remember, there was this child musician savant sitting in front of you, right next to me, and you two were talking, and I kind of overheard, and then it was just this whole thing of like, oh my gosh, this the synergy right here, the Holy Spirit working in that cabin was just so cool, and that was, like I said, years ago, and we've just stayed in touch since then. So it was so cool to see how God worked that chance encounter into something like this.
It's amazing. And I love that you and I have been chatting about this for years,
Mhm.
literally trying to put
Yeah.
stuff together. And so I love speaking into the lives of people and their marriages and their journeys. I spend actually a fair amount of time each week talking to leaders, pastors, business owners,
Mhm.
marriages, just about marriage and about life and how to
Mhm.
process loss and how to get through things. And
Right.
so I think what I'm going to be talking about a fair amount and just kind of creating space for us to process is in friendship, it seems like or sorry, in a marriage, it seems like our relationships go better if we're actually friends with Jesus
Mhm.
and there is some meaningful rhythm there.
Right.
It certainly has been the case for me that if I'm really being intentional to develop a deep friendship with Jesus, my marriage gets better.
Right.
It just does.
Yep.
I'm not as much of a jerk. Hopefully, I'm not a jerk in general, but we're people, and
Right.
so we can be jerks. But um, and then if we have a really good friendship with Jesus, then what does it look like to continue in marriage to develop and cultivate a good, meaningful friendship with each other?
Right.
Because I think that I was talking to somebody who's brand newly married here recently, and they were like, "So, Dave, you've been married for 20 years, coming up on 21 years.
Mhm.
What's the secret?" And my reflexive response was, Tara's the best friend I have.
Mm.
And I treat her like that.
Right.
Not to say that I am not a moron sometimes and treat her poorly, but in general, I try to treat her really well on
Right.
purpose because she's the
Yeah.
best friend I have.
Right.
So we're going to be, dipping our toes into some of these types of concepts and
Mhm.
creating space for us to both examine where our friendship is with Jesus,
Mhm.
where our friendship is with our spouse,
Okay.
and get some practical ways and some practice in
Gotcha.
on engaging uh, in some meaningful practices to build friendship. So, it's gonna be good, man.
Very cool. I can't wait. That'll be super fun. So, Pastor Aaron, our pastor here at First Assembly, had mentioned this to our congregation last Sunday, and then we've been sharing it out to other churches. Um, I'm sure that you've done this before, and there's probably maybe a misconception of only troubled marriages go to marriage conferences. I guess, can you kind of speak to that aspect of like, this is not for, hey, this is time to ring the alarm, like something's wrong. Like, speak to that a little bit if you could.
I grew up in a family that at least extended family believed that getting good advice was a bad idea.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Anytime you
Hmm.
talk to them about going and getting counsel of any kind, they'd
Right.
be like, "Oh, you don't want to go see the quacks. You don't want to go see the
Mhm.
nutcases.
Yeah.
Got to be real careful." And basically, what they were saying was, we don't have a framework. We don't have a desire to lean in and get advice. We're
Right.
just more comfortable keeping things the way that they are.
Wow.
Um, I can tell you, as a result, in some parts of my family, that has not served them very well. And so, what I kind of over time, as I watched my mom particularly lean in, she had this insatiable curiosity and desire to get healed and to process the stuff in her life to the point where she said for 6 years straight, I think it was 2 or 3 times a week, she just leaned into mentoring and counseling and discipleship because she wanted to have a healthy soul.
Hmm.
She wanted to have healthy relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that that set a framework for me. And so, because of that, I have developed a curiosity by myself. And so, um, when I'm doing premarital counseling, I tell them, hey, don't just get good advice on the front end of your marriage.
Yeah.
Keep leaning in and getting good advice throughout your marriage,
Right.
so that it doesn't get to the point where you're about ready to throw in the towel and bail. That
Right.
being said, if if you are at that place where you're ready to throw in the towel, come
Yes.
hang out with us. We'll pray for you. We'll speak into your life. It's not like this is going to fix everything,
Right.
but it might give you some tools in your hand and maybe even a way forward
Mhm.
to process where you're at in marriage. But I don't know, man. I'm just like in anything, like in your business, Andy, there's continuing education.
Mhm.
You
Right.
keep learning, you keep leaning in
Right.
because you want to get better at what you do.
Exactly.
And I would say that marriage is an invitation from God
Mm.
to make your life's work loving on your spouse.
Wow.
Like the other stuff is kind of secondary.
Sure.
You have been given a vocation, a job by Jesus, and that is to love that spouse of yours like crazy. And I think that all of us could use new tools, fresh insights,
Right.
a fresh invitations and perspectives on how to do that
Right.
better. So yeah, I don't know if that's really answering your question,
Yeah.
man, but those are
Absolutely.
some of my thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Um, So I think that's kind of my main questions were just to kind of get your thoughts. Let people hear from you, right? It's one of those things like hearing Aaron's take on it, hearing me say, "Hey, I've known this guy for years, and this is going to be so much fun." But to like hear your heart and kind of hear what it is that you're going to be talking about, you and Tara. I'm hoping that there are a handful of people out there that were kind of like, yeah, maybe, but I'm not sure. So here's your sign, right? You're waiting for a sign from God. Here it is, right here, hearing directly from Dave. So thank you so much, my friend. I can't wait for tomorrow and this weekend. It's going to be a blast.
Tara and I are thrilled to be with you. Thank you so much for the invitation, man.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you
All right.
soon. All
See
right.
ya.